Hello and welcome to the best mods for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. We're going to be covering all the best mods as so many mods are getting released. So if you're keen to stay up to date with all the latest and greatest mods, mod news, or anything Kingdom Come Deliverance, come along for the journey as we explore all the best mods. Let's go.
Fetch My Dog is a cool mod that introduces a very simple yet highly useful tweak to KCD2. It allows the players to retrieve Mutt, the legendary faithful hound, from any of the innkeeper within the game. Previously, we've been restricted to only a couple locations when we're trying to reunite with our four-legged companion after he's run away from being injured or when we send him home. This mod eliminates that limitation entirely by adding a really handy quality of life dialogue option across all inns where we can rent a bed. So now when you speak to an innkeeper, you'll see the option to have Mutt return to your side. It's even got some voice lines for the interaction. There are some innkeepers that will display only text when delivering the response. However, the outcome is the same. Now we can retrieve Mutt so much easier, reducing travel time, saving us time, and it's just a handy function which makes a lot of sense. Simple and effective mod. Here we have a pretty freaking cool looking sword, certainly out of place within the KCD2 environment. However, the Abyssal Sword is a dark, glowing blade with a hellish red radiance that intensifies as nighttime reaches us, automatically adds it to your stashed chest, or you can just use some commands to summon it. But a wickedly cool looking glowing sword certainly adds some mystical visual flair, especially at nighttime, with its pulsing, ominous red hue. Very visually striking, something to mix it up. Might not be for everyone, but a cool sword nonetheless. However, it is worth noting, it is pretty potent sword. You will feel like a god wielding it. Put that hood up, Henry is a mod that brings in a much requested immersion and roleplay feature within KCD2. We've covered a few mods like this. This is another addition to the wearable hoods. The mod follows the same suit, giving us the ability to wear hoods in their up position. With proper visuals and stat integrations, players can now purchase multiple styles of hoods, variants from the tailor in Truskowitz and Gutenberg, or optionally shift shop placement to avoid conflicts with other clothing mods. The hoods behave similar to other mods. They override helmet visuals while still granting underlying armor bonuses. Optional variants offer stealth buffs like reduced noise and visibility, ideal for thieves and scouts or assassins. Should be compatible with most other armor mods thanks to its PTF structure. You can also just use console commands to directly deposit these goodies into your inventory. But another cool mod giving a lot of flexibility and optionality when wearing hoods is Henry. Boulder's Tattoos is a pretty slick and sick character customization mod that adds a richly detailed full body tattoo, reminiscent of mythological figures like Boulder from North legends. These tattoos are designed for those who want to break from Henry's typical appearance and lean into a more tribal, pagan, or cursed warrior look. And it certainly makes Henry look more brutal. Players can choose from several tattoo colors and variants. There's black, blue, and red, with some subtle variations on placement. So some good customization options here. It's worth noting it may conflict with other character overhaul mods that alter Henry's textures, but an excellent, but a very nice tattoo mod for Henry. This is a bit of a funny mod. It's called Ragdoll NPCs. It's a bit of a humorous gameplay mod that injects absurd charm into KCD2. We all know Henry is the ultimate lady killer, and now all the female NPCs are going to be fainting in our presence as soon as we bump into them, just from pure awe and I'm sure some other things. Whether you're strolling through the marketplace or barreling through, you will notice that girls are just going to be falling left, right, and center. It is just a bit of a fun mod. Simply get close enough to females, they're going to drop to the floor in a ragdoll. However, I thought this was a cool mod, as it would be awesome to see ragdoll effects being added to, like when you fire a gun or when you fire an arrow, like being able to hit someone with an arrow and have them like fly back. That'd be kind of cool, something interesting to mix, but an interesting mod. Let's keep moving. I can see it in your eyes is a high fidelity retexture of all NPCs player eye models within KCD2, aiming to retain the vanilla eye color palette while adding immense sharpness, detail, and realism. The eyes are already pretty phenomenal within KCD2, so this mod takes it to another level. It's aesthetically faithful and technically very impressive. Giving 4K textures to the eyes really does bring them even more to life, with higher visual fidelity, new normal maps, sharper irises, and subtle transition in blur around the pupils. But it certainly adds a more richer, more expansive character, elements that feel grounded and lifelike. Boring Black Swords is a visual and functional weapon mod that introduces craftable black scabbards, variations variation and versions for most notable swords. Embracing a more minimalistic aesthetic, it overhauls both long swords and short swords with uniform black scabbards and grips while maintaining a clean and lore respectful look. Surprisingly, all these scabbards in black actually look pretty phenomenal. Overall, a very impressive mod, giving a fresh set of black paint to a ton of weapons within the game. Here we have another legendary mod, Treasure Maps of Bohemia. These were phenomenal in KCD1 and no elements of detail have been left out. This brings high quality visuals, replacing over 31 treasure maps and point of interest map in the game with beautifully hand-drawn parchment style textures. Each map preserves the original purpose and context, but now features enhanced realism, historical immersion, using period-appropriate paper tones, blended ink, and natural parchment aesthetic. It's the same mod creator, but absolutely love this in KCD1, and this is definitely no exception. Each map is redrawn at a much higher resolution, using much finer textures, and you're left with amazing looking maps, and it's these little details when all combined together that really enhance the overall gaming experience. Realish Warhorse is a gameplay tweak mod that overhauls horse behavior and mounted combat balance to make horseback fighting more viable, brutal, and rewarding. By enhancing perks and modifying morale, stamina, and unseating mechanics, this mod transforms your mount from mere transport into a true warhorse worthy of Bohemia battlefield. This is a highly valued mod in my mind. I really enjoyed mucking around, now being able to engage in horse combat, and it's pretty overpowered and fun to be able to run around now, striking foes from a distance, because the horseback fighting often feels very clunky and risky in the traditional KCD2, so this mod definitely flips side dynamic, giving you a reliable war steed that fights with you and not against you. Just watch out, you will still get knocked over trying to enter in tight spaces. The combat perks like Night Training, Towering Menace, and Into the Fray are amplified and change the core horse behavior, eliminating frustrating mechanics like nervous rearing or low morale reaction. This opens the doors for a lot of interesting scenarios to really change how horse combat feels. Highly recommend mod. Definitely worth trying out. I won't go into all the fine details as there's a lot of changes around the core perks and behaviors, but just to note a couple: horses rarely buck, only at 5% morale. Rearing uses much less stamina. Horse speed to damage scaling is now more lethal. What I'd love to see is if you ran into someone while you're galloping on a horse, they like get pushed away in Ragdoll. All these Ragdoll things keep popping up. There's a lot of uses around those kind of physics and animations. It'd be cool to see how far that goes. But overall, it's a really superb mod that really does change the gameplay mechanics of the horse. Definitely worth checking out. Hardcore Henry Tattoos gives Henry a very rugged, gritty edge with some very bold, obviously law-breaking ink across his face and back, featuring very nice 4K skin textures. This is another great addition to the tattoo range that we're getting for KCD2. It lets you choose from a trio of back tattoos of berserker motifs, a dragon, or a menacing skull king, paired optionally with facial tattoos that say "always hungry" in either Latin or English. But another really cool addition, whether you're going for a Norse pagan outlaw, post-battlefield veteran, or just want Henry to look as badass as possible, these ink varieties add some serious personal touches, subtle enough to blend in. Particularly, you'll be wearing armor and everything a lot of the time, so you won't see them too much, but it's a cool aspect for those few moments where Henry is getting a bit saucy and spicy.